Raw Hogan for the Boxing Voice. I am here with possible future English middleweight champion Linus Udofia.
British, yeah?
Yeah, British, sorry.
Yeah, I'm very, very well. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. You might remember when we last spoke.
I was wearing this jacket. And
Yeah.
it looks bad now because it looks like I've only worn it.
You've only
that
got one
time.
jacket.
And then, yeah, I've only worn it that one time, and then now it looks like
And
this is all I wear.
you remember you actually complimented my jacket.
Yeah, where is it?
I've got a new one, so
round
I'll have to get your views on that.
Okay. Anyway.
So when we last spoke, I did warn you that Nigeria v Ghana is a hell of a derby match. The Black Stars have pushed the Eagles out of the World Cup. It's up to you to restore some Niger pride, isn't it?
Yeah, it's upsetting, but I'm up for the challenge. You know what I mean? I'm up for the challenge. We can't take a loss twice to Ghana, so we'll do our best to put the green, white, green back on.
But how's the training going for you?
Yeah, very well. Can't complain. Everything's right. You know, obviously I'm gonna. You know what I mean, like, even if it wasn't, anyone would have said it was going right. You know what I mean, but yeah, it's cool. It's all gone well. Can't complain, man. Life's good right now. Just it's just formality at the minute. Just moving around, all sparring partners, all track work, and everything's going right. I feel like everything's in the right place. I feel I'm in a good place as well, and learning a lot every day, developing as a fighter. So I feel good. Things are good.
Fantastic. How do you think you measure up size-wise as a middleweight? When I asked Denzel about his Felix cash loss, and asked him, well, does that mean he's too small for the weight? He said, well, no, actually, it's just that Cash is one of those guys who's lucky to be big at the weight.
Yeah.
Yourself, how do you think you measure up as a middleweight?
I don't know. I used to think I was a big middleweight, but there's a lot of. I mean, Cash is massive. Dignam's big middleweight. Grant Dennis is big middleweight. I mean, there's a lot of. I don't know. I don't really. Even if it was a thing or there was a difference, I don't really think size matters too much. Yeah, I think I measure up okay as middleweight.
Skills pay the bills,
Yeah,
ultimately.
skills are what does it. But yeah, size don't really matter too much.
When I spoke to Denzel last, I did point out that what you said was that you've seen holes in him, and he says, yeah, we've all got holes as fighters, but can you exploit them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still confident that you can deal with his holes?
As long as I do everything right, as long as just like him, he's going to feel as long as he does everything right, he beats me. As long as I do everything right, I beat him. You know, that's I see everyone, like you said, it's bang on. Everyone has got holes. It's who can exploit them better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who can implement their game plan better, and who can exploit and capitalize on the other's mistakes better.
I mean, since the Cash defeat, he's had one other fight, tune-up, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
Did you see anything different in him?
It was. I watched the fight, and it was not too much in a sense. But then again, you're only as good as who's in front of you. You know, and yeah, it was. You know, what I mean, it was a fight that he needed to get back, and I think that was what more. There was not really much you could take from that one as a opponent standing. You know, there wasn't really much you could have taken from that fight.
Mm-hmm. How long has it been since your last fight?
6 months.
6 months?
6 months, yeah.
You'd rather be a bit more active than that, I imagine.
100%, but I'll take it. You know, I mean, some people haven't fought coming to this day in like 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I mean, you win in May. I'm sure that gentleman there, Kala, he'll be getting you out on a regular basis.
Yeah, 100%. You know, right now, obviously, we can't look too far ahead. Just got to look at May right now. Obviously, win that, and then we'll see what happens next. But right now, all I'm thinking about is May.
Absolutely. Some fighters have actually said this to me, that the British title in many ways is actually harder to win than some of these international belts that will give you a world ranking. So this is actually probably a better fight to go for than, say, one of these WBC international belts or what have you, which if you won, you could still get into the top 10. But do you think this is actually a better approach to give you those sort of competitive, hard fights before you get into the sort of real world elite?
Yeah, 100%. I think the fun thing about the British belt is, you know, it puts the best fighters against each other. You know what I mean? You had Cash Cash Bentley, you've had Craig Richards, and you've had Craig Richards and Sakan Pitters. I mean, the best fighters fight each other for the British, and it's domestically it's a very good title, and I feel like I'm one of the best fighters in the division. He feels like he's one of the best fighters in the division, and it makes sense now. So let's get it on, see who's the best, move on from there, and go from there. And I think it is harder. It's a harder route to go. The domestic route is a much harder route to go than the WBO, this route and this route and this route. But I'm just glad I'm doing it this way because it helps my development as a fighter.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a better route. You could imagine someone like maybe Nathan Heaney. Frank Warren will probably get him a WBO world title fight before long. But do you have the correct sort of preparation for it if you skip the levels? I think you agree you probably don't.
Yeah, 100%. I think I don't want to. I'm not throwing shade on anyone. I always thought the domestic route was not, in my opinion, the correct route for your career. The domestic route is the correct route for your own development, for your own publicity-wise development as a fighter and things like that. I think, and there is such thing as getting fast track too fast. You haven't gone through the levels. You haven't fought the right people that you would have met at certain levels of certain titles and things like that. And then when you're at a level, it's deep water and you can't swim. So I've always like glorified the domestic route, and like people, fighters like Dazn, he's really done the domestic route, and he's a massive example of why it's the best route for development.
Absolutely, yeah. I brought it up with a couple of promoters as well, and I used Anthony Yard as an example, someone who skipped the levels, probably has the ability to probably have beaten Kovalev, but if he'd had his 2 fights against Linden before he'd fought Kovalev, for example, he'd have probably been better placed to have beaten Kovalev because he'd understood more about his gas tank, how well it would hold up, and that sort of thing. I brought it up with Eddie in regard to say someone like Conor Benn, because you get these fringe world level guys who are a good name, but they're very faded. Some of these domestic guys who are still physically in their prime can probably give a harder fight in some ways. They might not have as many tricks as, say, a veteran, but their punch resistance will be better, and they'll probably still be hitting harder, their stamina will be better, that sort of thing. So I think someone like Denzel, obviously physically still in his prime, I mean, he can give you all of them tests that you're going to want.
Yeah, 100%. At British level, there's no easy fights at this level now. There's no easy fights, there's no easy touches, there's everyone is dangerous, everyone is a live operator, so like you said, you've just got to be focused, you've got to be 100%.
Mm-hmm. In terms of Denzel, any of his particular traits that you're weary of?
He's very sharp. He's got very good lateral movement. He's got very good head movement. He's very sharp. He's very hard to hit. He's very awkward. And as long as we do not lose concentration, as long as we don't go to sleep for a second of every round, that's our plan. As long as with him, he capitalizes when you are not really awake, and he can really catch you out. He's very sharp. He's got good power. And and as long as we concentrate, as long as we're focused, we should be able to cancel out that.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel any sort of pressure to sort of get a similar outcome that Cash got?
No, I'm not Cash. I'm not. The only variable was Denzel. He's the only variable in that situation. I'm not Cash. My goal was just to win the fight and win the belt. I don't care what fashion it comes. My goal is just to win the fight. I haven't even looked at that as I have to do better or I have to try and do that's just, it's almost disrespectful towards Bentley's talents to think. Do you know what I mean? To kind of think about that. Mm-hmm. And this is a serious fight, and where I'm at is I just want to win the belt.
That said, as the sign behind you says, live on 5, you won an exciting performance, don't you?
Yeah, I think this will go down as a British domestic classic, in my opinion. I think it will. I think styles make fights. Both styles are going to be good. My style's a really good style, and his style's a really friendly style. And I think it's going to go down as a classic, in my opinion.
Oh, let's hope so. I mean, it must be really exciting though to be on terrestrial TV. I don't know if you're probably too young to remember the days when a lot of the stars were built on terrestrial TV before they went on to pay-per-view. And Yeah,
Oh,
guys like
you know,
Fox,
Eubank,
Hamed, all of those guys.
Eubank had ITV, I think it was, and you know, 100%, yeah. And you know, I'm glad that so many networks are now coming in and picking boxing up, and it's you know, it's free, it's open season right now. You know what I mean? And it's really good. It's really good that boxing's getting the network it deserves. You know, and terrestrial TV, Channel 5, I'm gonna have people's nans watching me. It's gonna be crazy. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to become a household name because even some of the stars of the game, some of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, they're not actually household names, are they? So only boxing fans that know them. So there's an opportunity for you to cross over and get that mass exposure.
Massively, yeah. And you know, it says a lot to Southern Brothers and Wasserman Boxing and how much hard work they've done to get a contract like this, or you know, just to get on terrestrial TV. You know, it's it's massive. This is massive. You know, it's a lot of good work from them. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, can't wait. it'd be great to tune into some boxing without having to pay some extra upside. Can I just ask you about some of the fights coming up in the division? Obviously, the big middleweight one, or super middleweight, Parker v Andre. Andre's obviously now moving up. How do you see that?
It's a good fight. Fair play for Zach Parker and Frank Warren, and getting him in that position. You know, I think he does really well if he does beat Andrade. You know, fair play to him. I think Andrade's levels above a lot of fighters at the minute, especially domestically. And I think Parker comes and stuck it. I think Andrade's class will show. But yeah, you know, it's a boxing match. Anything can happen. But I think Andrade will remain. And I think he won't be beaten.
Yeah, he's one of my favourites as well. I've said for years he's the man to dethrone Canelo, but hey, let's see if he can ever get that. And of course, the belt that he's vacating is now being contested by Danny Dignam, who you mentioned, and Janibek Alim Khanuli. I think that's how you pronounce it, the Kazakh.
Yeah.
Don't know much about him, but I mean, Kazakhstan. It's got a pedigree. Obviously, people like Triple G are from there. How do you think he gets on?
I've seen a bit of him. Yeah, I've seen a bit of Jeremy Beck. I've sparred, personally shared the ring with Dignam, and you know, he's a very good fighter. Very stand-up, classy, very GB style. Do you know what I mean? Upright southpaw. Very good fighter. Very well schooled. Not a lot of holes in his game. I think he gives Jeremy Beck a lot of problems. But then again, you know, I think the pedigree of Jenner, it's a big step, it's a big jump, and you know, fair play to Lee and from MTK and Kevin Lilly, his trainer, getting him ready for these and having the right fights, getting in these positions. And, you know what I mean? Fair play to him. I wish him all the best. I hope he can get the job done, but I couldn't really call the fight. I think it's a big jump, you know, world level, but I couldn't call it.
Well, it'd be great if he can bring that back to Essex.
Yeah, fair play to him if he does. You know what I mean? I wish him all the best.
Yeah. And obviously it's a really big fight, Triple G against Murata over in Japan. Two aging fighters.
Next weekend?
Yeah, I believe so. Who's got more left?
We don't know. We don't know what Triple G is going to show up. You know, Triple G's taking a decline. We saw it in his last few fights. I mean, we still think of Triple G as the guy that fought Canelo and put him in very tough spots and arguably won a couple of those fights. We don't. I don't really personally. I don't know much about Murata. I hope that Triple G that I'm thinking will show up, does show up, and you know, does the business. And you know, I just hope he doesn't stay too long. You know, I hope he just doesn't overstay his welcome a little bit and get himself hurt. He's no spring chicken. You know, like there's always time. It gets to a point where you got to call it a day, and I think Triple G's day is coming. But I just hope he calls it a day on his own terms. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of fighters staying on possibly for too long and getting hurt, the main man in this country, at least at the box office for middleweights, is Chris Eubank Jr., your stablemate. He's talking about fighting Kell Brook. What do you make of that?
I think there's legacy fights and there's big fights. You know, I think him versus Kell Brook or Amir Khan or Conor Benn, those are big fights. But you know, they're going to fill arenas, they're going to fill stadiums, but legacy fights will be fighting. You know, if Andrade went down, if Billy Joe came down, and like fighters with, you know, like fighters that actually, I'm not gonna say good because Khan and Brook and Conor Ben, they're all good, but those fights they don't make sense. They only make financial sense, you know. And I think there's other fights out there that you should be looking at. I'd love to see Hammy Mungwai against. That's a legacy fight. That's a great fight. But you know what I mean. He's on top right now. He can do what he wants. He can call whatever he wants. But you know, whatever he does, as long as as long as he's making him money and doing whatever he. He's worked hard to have his career on his own terms, so who's anyone to say anything about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess we'll have to see what Calla brings up in terms of money. Anything you want to add, Linus?
No, just thanks for having us, and tune in, Channel 5. It's going to be a British domestic, May 13th. Yeah, it's going to go down. It's going to go down as a British domestic.
Yeah, there will be a classic, and well. Thanks for being to the Boxing Voice, and good luck for May 13th.
Thank you for having us.
For the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.